Measured the top approximately 36 inches, used a square, used a marker on it, made sure we were nice and square, and using a special masonry blade. It's a diamond turbo blade from Home Depot. It'll cut through cement, masonry, marble, and you just take it real slow like I did. You cut the bottom first and then you come back and cut the backsplash, because you got to set a little bit deeper to get in that wider corner, back corner of the backsplash. And now we've got a perfectly clean cut and a new section of 36-inch marble. And that's how you cut marble top. Okay, we have our cabinet face frame out here, and the marble top is 35 3/4. So we're going to come over here about the 34 and a half mark, somewhere in there, and we're going to cut that all the way up, and then we're going to use that section of style and scab it in over here, and then put a filler in behind it, and that will give us our offset on our lab base, which will match what's happening over here, just the opposite actually of what's happening here on the top. As you can see, you got a wider area to the right, and that will also create the wider area on this one. Okay, I've measured the base cabinet to be about 1 inch narrower than the laptop, and then the style that I'm going to reuse is 1 5/8. Then I've subtracted 1 5/8 so that I can run the style vertically. So now I need to cut the face frame to accommodate that. Kind of hold it for me. And we still have a real big depth set on this thing. And we'll take this section and remove this style and add it to it. Here we're cleaning up the lab that we cut down, and we're going to get ready to put the faucet back in it before we carry it back in. That way it's easier to put the faucet on it now before we put it on the top. Well, we set the lab in here tonight just to get an idea. I did buy some stain at Home Depot, but I think I might have a situation here kicking this cat out of the bowl. At great risk and peril to myself, I removed the cat and stained the pieces I had replaced on the right side there of the lab, and kind of just did a light wipe over the face to do some blending, and it's good to go. Okay, before I could put the lab in, I had to do some additional work, as I had mentioned earlier. I have to put the new GFI recept in over here. As you may remember, it was located over here. Now I'm using a National Electric Code approved Romex splice rather than a junction box because it's illegal to bury a junction box. The reason I know this is I was a building inspector for 2 years, and I was in construction for 28 years, and I did engineering and architecture work, and so I've had to become familiar with all the codes. A lot of it just makes sense. This approved splice is very safe. It can be buried. And it's the only way I know of, besides a junction box. You can't bury a junction box. So I'm going to install the splice there. I've already ran the Romex from here. I made myself some little canals in the studs here, an access panel here so that I can get up into here. Now I still have to chisel away some block before I can install the wing box. And the wing box is a remodel box that's got little wings on it. So you slide it in, and as you turn the 2 corner screws, the wings open up and tighten against the drywall. So you don't have to nail it into a stud. They're wonderful. When I get that installed, then I'll be coming back and cutting this copper and sweating the caps on it. But for right now, I have to finish up the electrical. Now, all of this here will be covered with concrete board that will be used as backer for the tile, and that will come out to here. So that'll all be covered with that, and then I will do a drywall patch here, and these will be behind the lab, but I'll also go ahead and put the plugs back in on those, the drywall pieces I pulled out, and they'll be good and sealed, and that wire will be very safe. It'll be out of the way of anybody trying to put any screws through it, because they didn't leave much more than a ½ inch between the drywall and the block. So somebody tried to hang a towel, which you wouldn't hang a towel bar against the glass mirror anyway. But safety is a concern. It's this project is not a complete strip down and renovation. It's more of a reusing what you have, freshening it up, building that whole brand new shower, 5-foot by 6-foot shower, and you know, eventually it'll include paint and everything and new flooring. So that'll make this bathroom much more charming, especially after 40 years of. I'm not sure it might have been repainted once, because I see a little bit of color difference, but other than that, I don't think much has happened in 40 years to the bathroom, other than when we moved in, we installed some towel bars and a new light bar. So this bathroom is saying, yes, yes, please. I've got to get back to work. Okay, I just finished sweating the hot and cold water lines right here that used to service the second bowl, or the one on the far left. And so I will go ahead now and cap this 1.5 inch ABS drain line. And there's a little bit of play sliding in and out, so I'll pull it out the best I can. I'm going to cut it close to the wall and use ABS glue and put the cap on it. And then that way everything will be contained back behind the drywall here. You know, obviously I'll pressure test this to make sure I have no water leaks before I seal it up. But I put plenty of I don't do this every day, so I always tend to put plenty of the lead-free solder on these. And you just basically, a matte gas torch is good. It's hotter than propane, so it warms the pipe up a little bit quicker, and you can get it warm, and you pretty much just lay the solder on, and it drips right in there. Just make sure you sand and use flux, lead-free, the flux on everything, and it just does a really good job sucking it in. My solders look about as clean as the original ones that were done in this room about 40 years ago, and it doesn't look like there have been any leaks there, so I think I'm pretty good to go. But like I said, before I seal this drywall up, I want to make darn sure that there's no leaks. If I get that capped, I'll do the drywall, start doing the patching. I've still got to put my little Romex splice in up there and close that off, and then pretty much this, get the lavatory in, the faucet hooked up. I'm going to replace these shutoffs and risers here with new shutoffs and 12-inch flexible risers. And once I get that base down, that will be the first phase of the project will be finished.